So aesthetic medicine, the unique thing about it is we actually want to enhance their traits, right? Not to actually change it. It's not like plastic surgery, and that's where aesthetic and plastic surgery differs. A lot of times when you're on the street walking, maybe you see botched jobs, like maybe their face is too puffy or too frozen, and then a lot of people tend to have the idea that, hey, if you do injectables or if you do any treatments, then you end up looking like that. So this is actually a very big misconception. The public should know actually beauticians shouldn't be handling all these kind of injectable treatments. It is actually illegal. Why want to take risks with their face? You only have one face, right? When something goes wrong, it's not always 100% that we can reverse this as well. So if it's not reversible, can you live with that? And is it worth the risk, right?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Profiles brought to you by Flex Space Studio. So today on Profiles, we have an aesthetic specialist, a certified medical doctor with us. She brings more than a decade of experience of aesthetic medicine, but beyond professional treatments, this conversation is more towards her personal journey, why she chose aesthetic medicine, and how she understands beauty. Let us welcome Dr. Jillian.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind introduction.
So, Dr. Jillian, could you tell us more about your background in medicine in general?
Okay, so I studied from Monash University. After Monash, I did my housemanship in Penang and then subsequently worked in Hospital Ampang before venturing out to do aesthetic medicine.
Wow, so you actually studied in KL,
Yes.
but you went to Penang to work?
Yes. So when you're a government doctor, you don't really get to choose a specific center you work. You're sort of allocated. So it wasn't really by choice, but more of by an allocation that I was there to work to service in the government.
What actually inspires you to dive into aesthetic medicine, dermatology, instead of traditional medicine?
So I think I've always been interested in beauty and the skin. So I was practicing as a doctor. I've realized that this was a field that I like because they had hands-on where you can see immediate results. And at the same time, it's very much a part of the patient's journey. So it was not one-off. It was seeing the patient grow together with me, right? So this was something that I found very suitable for my personality.
Okay, then as a certified aesthetic doctor, what does beauty mean to you personally?
I think personally, beauty is something that is very unique, right? So everyone has their own unique traits. The important thing about beauty is a lot of times the public, maybe the Gen Z or the Gen Alphas, they tend to think that beauty has a specific trait. Your high nose, beauty, big eyes is beauty. But actually, everyone individually, when they have their own traits, they are beautiful as themselves, right? So aesthetic medicine, the unique thing about it is we actually want to enhance their traits, right? Not to actually change it. It's not like plastic surgery, and that's where aesthetic and plastic surgery differs, right?
Oh, then do people actually have the misconception of aesthetic medicine and actually plastic surgery?
I think nowadays with more and more awareness of aesthetic medicine, then they are more aware that we do not need to go under the knife to get any beauty procedures done. So they may have some awareness that plastic surgery and aesthetic medicine is different. But then again, that being said, a lot of times when you're on the street walking, maybe you see botched jobs, like maybe their face is too puffy or too frozen. And then a lot of people tend to have the idea that, hey, if you do injectables or if you do any treatments, then you end up looking like that. So this is actually a very big misconception because when aesthetic medicine is done right, you actually don't look different from how you are. You just look more enhanced, lesser fine lines, lesser wrinkles, but you pretty much can still make expressions, right? So the beauty of aesthetic medicine being done right is that people won't just point out and say, hey, you've done something to your face. What do? You just look younger, but still yourself, right?
So it doesn't make big changes like 换脸, like change your face, that kind of thing.
Yes. That's the whole idea. If aesthetic beauty is actually done right, then this is the outcome that we are all gearing for. Of course, a lot of it also comes with communication. So communication between doctor and patient and what the patient is actually gearing for. So sometimes, a lot of times, maybe doctors have their own idea of what is something beautiful, but patients also have their own idea. So this communication is very important so we can bridge this and the expectation is of course aligned.
Mm. Then is there any scenario or situation when it comes to what the patient wants and what the doctor thinks doesn't align?
I think sometimes, with the younger generation, sometimes they may come in with very different expectations of what can actually be done with
Mm.
aesthetic medicine. For example, like maybe the outcome that they want is a surgical outcome, like very different from what aesthetic medicine can achieve. So if that's the case, then it's very important, to actually communicate that with the patient so that there will be not much disappointment. So, for example, if someone's jawbone is actually very wide, it's impossible that you can do any injectables that can shave it down to make it slimmer. Whereas a lot of Koreans, maybe they shave their jawbones. So sometimes, this can be put online and patients tend to come in thinking, hey, I thought I can do this just by doing an injectable. So it's very important to, highlight to them what their unique anatomy structure is so that they can align it with their expectations as well.
Mm. So when doctors actually communicate with patients, they say, "Oh, if you want your jawlines to be more narrow, you need to shave it."
Not fully necessary the case. I mean, like in maybe depending on their expectation, there are also like, slimming jawline treatments where we can do like masseter botox or even like some jawline fillers. But it's the expectation of it, meaning that if they're trying to go down half their size, then that may not be possible, right? With
Like,
just a simple aesthetic treatment.
I see. Then let's talk about the journey of how you found, like, co-found the clinic. So when was the moment that you actually decide to co-found Bright Clinic, and what actually inspired that decision?
So I co-founded Bright Clinic with Dr. Jason, and Dr. Jason and me, we have quite aligned goals where we know that we want to give personalized care, not just to push out treatments that are trending in the market.
Mm.
So I think since we know that we have these aligned goals, then we wanted Bright Clinic to be founded to cater to patients who will appreciate this, right?
Mhm.
Because at that point in time, maybe in the market, a lot of clinics will not clinics per se, maybe career trends, right,
Mm.
will push out only what is popular, treatments that are popular. So when Bright Clinic, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to make sure that we can address their concerns based on what they tell us and then for the suitable treatments as well.
Mm. What are the biggest challenges that you actually face when starting out in this aesthetic field?
I think the biggest challenge is, of course, when you're starting something new to make patients trust you, to
Mhm.
know that you are here to stay for good, to know that you are not just, because there's a lot of clinics out there that, maybe businessmen run. So they open and then very quickly you can see, even though they open multiple outlets, they shut completely. So a lot of patients, they tend to have this fear or they tend to worry that, oh, am I going to sign a package and then this place is going to shut down, right? Because of maybe previous experience. So probably that was the initial difficulty that we faced. But over the years, I think patients has come to realize that we are here for a purpose and we are here for good. Yeah.
Mm, like being there professionally,
Yes.
not like just a businessman trying to see what is trendy in the market and then just, oh, I just open a beauty concept clinic lah. Then whatever you do, I don't take responsibility and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Yes, yes.
Mm. In the beauty and aesthetic industry, they often carries high expectation and maybe some pressures as well. So how do you balance clients' hope and the reality?
So I think with the years of experience, we tend to know our limitations and we know the expected results that can be achieved.
Mm.
So with that, I think like what I mentioned just now, sometimes it's very important for us to align these expectations with the patients. For example, if they're coming in for scar treatments, we need to tell them, it's not a one-time treatment. Some ads that they see, single time the scars get resurfaced, this is not realistic, right?
Mhm.
So it's a lot of education as well. And of course, it's also important for patients to trust us, right? To know that we are not just trying to make them do many sessions, but that these things actually take time, right? You cannot get acne scars over a few years and then expect it to be resolved over a few sessions.
Mm.
So giving the right expectations to patients, I think, is the one thing that can avoid having disappointment, right?
Then, in your experience, how has the public perception of beauty or like aesthetic treatments changed over these
I
years?
think nowadays it has come that more and more patients are looking for skin quality treatments, right? They want an improvement in skin texture, to
Mm.
wear no makeup and to be able to go out to have good skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see the trend moving towards having healthy skin barriers and all that. So I think with that, it's also very important so we can educate patients on what they can do to take very good care of their skin, what they can avoid, or even lifestyle is actually very much related. What you eat also has an effect on how good your skin is, right? How you take care of your skin at home.
Mm. Have you ever felt emotionally impacted by a patient's journey? Maybe they have like insecurities and maybe they have some bad experience, let's say. So, how do you handle that as a professional?
I think definitely for sure, any aesthetic doctor will actually have this experience.
Mm.
So I'm very grateful to share these experiences with my
Oh.
patients, right? I have had patients where they struggled with insecurities for some time. For example, they didn't want to wear shorts because they're having stretch marks and whatnot. And after we resolve their issue, after it improved, you see them wearing shorts during the subsequent visits. And when they share with you the confidence that they've gotten from all the improvement, you feel very happy. I think this is one of the core reasons why I do what I do. Like
Mm.
it gives me a lot of satisfaction, job satisfaction, right? A lot of people think aesthetic medicine is just, oh, just make people look pretty. But actually, a lot of people, they live with some insecurities, whether it's on their face or their body. And when you resolve it, you can actually see that they are grateful, they are happy. And a lot of times these patients have grown with us as well. I've had some patients with me for the last few years, and I've seen them in different stages of their life, from being single to getting married to having kids, and from wives bringing their husbands, bringing their
Mm.
parents. So it warms me. I think it's something that I really appreciate. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what keeps you motivated? Like when work can be very demanding sometimes, and some people judge aesthetic medicine quite harsh. So, what actually keeps you motivated?
I think when I started this, I've always known that, my goal is not to listen to the outside noise, but it's with the patients, right?
Mm,
So what keeps me motivated very much is
mm.
the patients in itself, right? When I see that patients are satisfied, when they're happy, when they return, when they get their friends and family, because it shows that means that they trust you and they're happy with you. I think this is really something that keeps me motivated, right? Because it means that I don't need to be the loudest in the room. I don't need to be the best in marketing, but they actually see the effort, right? So this is definitely something that keeps me motivated. The other thing I think that very much keeps me motivated is my team.
Mm.
So of course, I cannot do it alone, right? I have a very good team behind me. The doctors and the staff, they are actually very dedicated. So sometimes seeing them so dedicated, it pushes me to want to work harder as well, right? Then only the
Mm.
team can grow stronger and better together. So I'm very lucky in the sense that I have good patients. I actually have a good team behind me as well. And hopefully, this will be how we continue to grow.
Hmm. Very nice to hear. There will be people that is judging aesthetic medicine. Like maybe they don't understand fully what is aesthetic medicine, like compared to like plastic surgery or
Beauticians.
yeah, beauticians are like how do you view this?
Okay, I think that everyone has sort of like a niche of their own, right? Plastic
Mm.
surgeons and aesthetic doctors, it's non-comparable. They are doing surgery, which is something that we can't do. There are also some treatments or some patients who are indicated for surgery. So that's for the plastic surgeons to handle. So for aesthetic doctors, we do minimally invasive, so more like fillers, your Botox, your lasers and whatnot. Then when we talk about beauticians, so this is another topic on its own, right? So the struggle right now, I think, is a lot of people tend to think that beauticians are also qualified to hold needles and inject. They think that anyone can hold needles, right? As long as 审美观是好, as long as they've got a good eye for beauty.
Yeah.
But this is actually not the fact. A lot of times complications happen because beauticians are doing the treatments. I'm not saying that when doctors do the treatments, nothing goes wrong. I'm saying that at least when something goes wrong in a clinic, doctors know how to manage it. But then with beauticians, they do not know how to manage it and they usually refer it to doctors. So I do
Oh.
see patients where they go to beauty salons, they get treatments done, they get complications, and then they come on to the clinic, right, to ask for help. Most of the time, it can be resolved. But it's not always, right? Which is why I say it's like playing Russian roulette. You're trying to see whether it can or it cannot. But I think the public awareness is very important in this case. The public should know actually beauticians shouldn't be handling all this kind of injectable treatments. It is actually illegal, right?
Mm.
Doctors go through years of studying regarding anatomy, regarding the body's physiology to understand how these products work and which layer of the skin it should be placed. It's not a blind injection, right? So if there's one message that can go out today, right? I hope that from this, everyone knows beauticians are not supposed to do any injectables. Any beauticians who are marketing themselves doing injectables is actually illegal. And then everyone will be surprised to know that, oh, you can actually market illegal things so openly as well, right?
Yes. Recently, there are news, right? It's very shocking to see that people actually believe that doctors open their clinic in their house.
Oh, so what has happened is I think we have a lot of foreign doctors.
Mm.
So to work in Malaysia, you need to have a practicing certificate, right?
Yeah.
So you are registered under KKM. So anything goes wrong, you are under a list, KKM knows that this doctor is practicing and whatnot. So a lot of foreign doctors, either from Vietnam or China, they've come into Malaysia. And what they do is instead of setting up clinics because they don't have this practicing certificate, they open up in hotels, they open up in houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they try to dress it like a clinic. So patients will go in and they unknowingly, fall for it because these so-called doctors or beauticians, they like to wear lab coats, they like to
Yeah.
put up a lot of certificates, they like to
Yeah.
mislead the public into thinking they are what they are not, right? So that's actually important for patients to do due diligence to check that it's actually a clinic. It's
Mm.
actually available online. They can actually check for the doctor's name to see whether the doctor is registered. There's a website, on our KKM page
Mhm.
that actually shows all this.
Then what is your point of view when you see public getting misled? For doctors, I believe that it is like a reputation that is being
It's like
like
something that,
something that you guys build and then bring down by somebody who is not even certified.
yes. I think those who go and seek beauticians, sometimes they know as well, that they shouldn't have
Mhm.
seeked out the beautician. But maybe for many reasons, maybe some beauticians are very good in marketing as well. So my advice to patients is always, why want to take risks with their face? You only have one face, right? When something goes wrong, it's not always 100% that we can reverse this as well. So if it's not reversible, can you live with that? And is it worth
Mm.
the risk, right? Patients who I've met and I've shared this with, a lot of times, they decide to come to a clinic because they realize that this risk is not worth it. But of course, the many out there,
Mhm.
I hope that they get more self awareness. And of course, I hope that maybe doctors also have to maybe be better in marketing this, to create more
Mm.
education awareness for patients as well.
I
Yeah.
see. Looking ahead in this industry, like what you mentioned, that trendy like Korean beauties and stuff like that, it will affect the industry. It will actually let people misunderstood. Be like the people, the public can be actually educated. Well, what is like aesthetic medicine or what is all those beauticians doing?
Understand.
Yeah.
I think, of course, it's a constant struggle, right, among doctors to try to educate the public. So this is definitely something that's going to take time.
Mm.
But as aesthetic medicine becomes more popular, as more people are open to do this minimally invasive treatments and laser treatments, so hopefully with more popular, when this is uprising and getting more popular, then patients will also start to do more homework and realize, what's
Mm.
right and wrong as well.
As a doctor, maybe some professionals, they will think like, I don't think I am the person who needs to do the educating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think most of the doctors is quite strong on this, right? We are quite united in a sense where we hope that we can educate the public more. We actually have clubs and memberships where doctors try to
Ooh.
stand together and try to educate the public as much as we can by putting out statements and whatnot. So I don't think so. I think most doctors are quite united on this front because they don't want bad things to happen to their patients, right? I think
Mm.
all doctors, anyone who's watching today, they know the pain, if they see a patient have a complication or if they see someone struggle with a complication that came from a beautician. So no one wants that, right?
Then maybe we can do our last question.
Sure.
Can you use one sentence to describe your journey so far from the start that you actually do traditional medicine, like with the government and stuff, and until right now that you're running your own business and you're driving yourself in aesthetic medicine? Like, use one sentence to conclude, to sum up
Excellent.
your journey.
I think if I had to choose a word or a sentence for it, I'll say I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this journey. It has brought me a lot of lessons, okay, some hard lessons along the way as well. But at the same time, I'm grateful for the trust that the patients have placed. I'm grateful for to see my staff growing together with us. I'm grateful for how Bright Clinic has actually grown in the aesthetic sphere as well.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yes.
Jillian, for sharing all of these with
Thank you.
us.
Thank you for having me today. Yes.
Yeah, because like people who don't know medicine, we don't know that there are so many specific sections for every single thing.
Yes.
And some people will actually think that aesthetic doctors, such a professional term, they will just relate with beauticians lah because they think that they are doing the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing out the awareness. So
Hopefully this will be the outcome of this. So anyone who's listening, I hope that, they actually do their homework a bit more before doing anything to your face, because in the end of the day, you only have one face. Why you want to risk it with lasers that are not certified, with injectables that are not registered, or with professionals who are not real professionals, right?
yeah. If you like today's episode and you found out that, oh, maybe aesthetic medicine and the misconception of like what beautician is doing with aesthetic medicine doctors are totally different, we hope that today's episode can actually bring awareness to the public. And if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And you can also follow Dr. Jillian's Bright Clinic's Instagram or YouTube page all along the social media platforms. So if you have anything that you want to ask Dr. Jillian, or you have any comments that you want to comment in today's episode, feel free to drop your comment below down the comment section.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Okay, so thank you so much for watching and following Profiles from Wuzhi, brought to you by Flex Space Studio. And we will see you on our next episode. Bye bye.